Support for this show, Politics Done Right, comes from politicsdoneright.com, publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It, As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto, Willies. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willies, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to the United States of America. Good morning to the entire world receiving our signals via the magic of el Internet, formerly known as ARPANET, created by whom again? Created by we the people. We're going to have a great show for you today. You know what's great about community radio? You have a part in it, and you actually can give the direction as to what you want to hear, what you need to hear, what you think others need to hear. That bidirectional communication is important. And henceforth, the show today got a call from the studio. Brother Van Beveren says, folks think that we need to discuss this topic. And you know what? Went ahead and made sure that that's what we're going to discuss. But anyway, let's go ahead and take it to the studio where our resident geniuses reside, El Senor Jacques Van Bever and Mayana.
Hey, missed ya.
Yeah, we missed you.
Good morning, Mayana. Welcome. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. What's going on?
Good morning, Egberto.
Good morning, my brother. Talk to me.
All right. Today's show tackles one of the greatest economic deceptions of our era. Donald Trump's claim that foreign countries pay the tariffs. In reality, these tariffs acts as a massive regressive tax on American families, raising prices on everything from groceries to electronics. This broadcast breaks down how tariffs work, why the 1929 crash was worsened by similar policies, and how Trump's trade war quietly drains billions from the pockets of working people while pretending to defend them. And now he's trying to buy off American citizens with a $2,000 stimulus check. This president uses money like a carrot on a stick to improve his low approval ratings. Other countries are starting to distance themselves from that Trump as that sucking sound starts and as the American economy starts to go into free fall.
I mean, you nailed it, brother. You nailed it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it in detail. And make sure, folks, and bookmark, send to your friends because, the deception continues. Anyway, Mayana, anything else you want to add, my sister?
I just want to know more about the $2,000 stimulus check because I know that really gets people, who don't have like a bulk of money at one time very excited, and it gets them, deterred from what's actually happening.
Yeah,
and you can count on it not coming, but we'll talk about that
anyway. It'll add to the deficit if it does. So
yeah, I mean the funny thing about it is this, right? If he provides a $2,000 payback for the tariffs, in effect, he's saying, I am lying. Because he told you that you are not paying for the tariff, right? He said you are not paying for the tariff, but he's saying he's going to give you $2,000 for the money he took away from you for the tariff. Wow.
Carrot on a stick.
It makes no sense, right? If the tariff is not affecting you, if you are not paying for the tariff, then that $2,000, what is it for again? I mean, look, it's the thing about it is there are those that are cultish, and there are those that are willfully ignorant. And those have to be the followers of Donald Trump. You have to want to believe, no matter what the evidence is, no matter what the truth is, to be able to follow this guy. And then you really have to ask yourself, underneath all of that, what is the real reason? And unfortunately, the real reason why one continues to follow this guy, after you know about this guy, it's a sad reason. Unfortunately, it's a sad reason
that began from the inception of this country. But anyhow, here we go. Last night I said, you know what? I'm going to write an entire blog post for the to answer the question. And of course, I'm not going to just read verbatim. I have to add to it. But anyway, the title of the blog that I wrote at midnight is Trump's Tariffs Lie Exposed: How His Trade War Became a Massive Tax on Every American. Folks, I want you to listen in, and please, I need to get my my chats started. Forgive me that I didn't get my chat started at the right time, so I missed the first few dozen. Well, I was going to miss the first few dozen anyway. All right, let me also get the other chat going. Welcome aboard, Harry Denson, our regular from Missouri City, Texas. And of course, there is also Udi Deemer, who I think is from Deer Park, Texas. And I'll call out others like Jane B. in North Carolina. Lynette, good morning, my dear, beautiful sister. All right. So again, the title is going to be Trump's Tariffs Lie Exposed: How His Trade War Became a Massive Tax on Every American. An examination of modern tariff politics reveals a simple truth. Tariffs are taxes paid not by foreign governments, not by overseas manufacturers, but directly by American importers, and ultimately by every single consumer who buys the product that filled the nation's shelves. While Donald Trump insists that China and other countries pay tariffs, the lived reality for working families tells a different story. Higher prices, strained budgets, and an economy weighed down by policies that echo the catastrophic mistakes of the past. Let me just tell you one other thing, right? When you have a big, there's 100% tariffs there was 100% tariff on China. And people got all flustered. Oh, that means the prices in Walmart's going to double. If the tariff increased by 50%, a T-shirt that you're paying $5 for is going to cost $10. Let me tell you the dirty little secret. You know why you didn't get a lot of, or how should I put this? The tariffs has a way of exposing what many companies in a capitalist society do. Check this out. I want to do some quick numbers for you. If you have a T-shirt that costs $5 in Walmart, how much do you think Walmart paid for that T-shirt? There is a good possibility that T-shirt, and I want you to stay with me with this math. It's simple math, but I want to show you the deception. The tariffs gives the average American citizen an opportunity, if they want to think things through, to see how ripped off they are. Because that $5 T-shirt may have costed that Walmart store 50 cents. Okay? That $5 T-shirt that Walmart is selling, they may have bought it from China at 50 cents. 100% tariff on China on that T-shirt that you're paying $5 on will not make that T-shirt go to $10. In other words, 100% of $5 would make that T-shirt cost $10. Instead, it will only increase the price the Walmart pays by 50 cents. Or rather, by 50 cents. Because they originally paid 50 cents for that T-shirt. Now they're going to pay $1 for that T-shirt. So technically speaking, if they just applied the tariff in the Walmart store for what that 100% tariff, that goes from that goes from $5 to $5.50. Still a high increase, right? Still a 10% increase, but not a 100% increase. What that means, however, is when you start to look at the price increases that Walmart charges, etc., you're going to get to a sad reality. Walmart may have been swindling you all along, because something that they paid 50 cents for, they were selling it to you 10 times the amount they bought it for, because you're an American and because that is what corporations do. Okay? So in the backside, Trump knew that. Trump is like, look, we buy stuff from China dirt cheap. So even if I put 100% tariff on China, because the markup that American companies put on all these things from China, it's not going to look as bad as it sounds. And then I'm going to look good, because guess what? The tariff isn't as high as it looked, and it's going to make it seem like I'm telling you some truth when that $5 t-shirt doesn't go to $10. But what this does is it shows you the complicity between Trump's tariffs and the capitalist oligarchy. Because what is happening again? Because you get to realize that all these companies are swindling you. Okay, let's continue. Economists have long understood tariffs as a direct levy on domestic businesses that purchase foreign goods. The government charges the importer upon products' entry into the country. The importer then passes the added cost of the chain to wholesalers, retailers, and finally, the American consumer. Every economist, along with mainstream analysts across the ideological spectrum, recognizes this devastating but straightforward mechanism. When tariffs rise, prices rise. It is that straightforward. Remember that $5 stuff that I told you about? Do you think Walmart is going to raise that price by just 50 cents? No, they won't do that, because right then and there they're going to say, "Oh, I'm selling out my price point. I'm letting every American know how much I'm ripping them off." So more than likely they'll tell two stories. They'll increase by more than the 50 cents, but also they'll tell you, we're going to eat some of the tariff costs. In effect, they're doing it neither. And in effect, their profit margin has just increased. I mean, the scourge of what actually occurs is phenomenal. Now, history offers an unforgiving lesson. The infamous Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930 stands as one of the most consequential economic blunders in American history. Passed in the wake of the 1929 market crash, it significantly raised import duties on thousands of products. Instead of protecting American industries, it triggered retaliatory tariffs from other nations and helped freeze international trade. The decline in global commerce deepened and prolonged the Great Depression, turning a severe downturn into a near catastrophic collapse. Tariffs did not save American jobs, they destroyed them. And guess what we're seeing right now? Right now, your Führer is not releasing job data. They claim it's because of the shutdown. No, the shutdown is a good excuse for them to have an excuse not to release the lousy employment data that is occurring right now. The modern right and Trump in particular choose to ignore this history. Trump's repeated claim that China is paying for tariffs is not just misleading, it's a lie. It is a deliberate lie meant to mask the regressive nature of his economic agenda. We are a country that believes in progressive taxes. The more you make, the more taxes you can afford to pay, and you are responsible for why, as a high income person, you do put more stress on the whole economic fabric. As a high earner, every high earner progressively add more stress to the economic strata. Foreign governments do not write checks to the US Treasury. American companies do. And those companies adjust their prices to cover their increased costs. The result is an invisible national sales tax disproportionately borne by working class Americans. Okay? Think about it. It is a tax on all of us. But later I'm going to tell you why that tax is so dangerous and terrible. This means Trump's tariffs are massive. It's a massive hidden tax on every American family, imposed without a debate in Congress, imposed without your choice, without transparency, without honesty. The America First rhetoric wrapped around the policy serves only to disguise the reality that working people subsidize false nationalism, and the wealthy and corporate sectors enjoy new protections and inflated profits. An economic vision demands clarity. If you want a society that really works for everybody, you got to be clear about it. Tariffs must be understood for what they are. Regressive taxes. What are regressive taxes? Taxes that affect those that make the least the most. Progressive taxes say we tax more for those who earn more. As this nation confronts rising inequality, shrinking wages, and monopolistic consolidation, policies that increase consumer costs and burden households are the last thing working families need. Trump's tariff myth must be exposed. Americans deserve an economy built on truth and fairness, and the shared prosperity, not one on shared prosperity, not one grounded in deceit and economic self-harm. Let me tell you, folks, the saddest thing I saw was a joke on Comedy Central. When one of the stars went out into where everybody's at and asked the question, who pays the tariffs? And you had some MAGA sympathizers ready to fight to defend tariffs of being good and not being a tax on them. So what this guy did was to bring an economist along and walk him through the chain of what occurs. Product comes to America. A tariff is applied. The supplier pays the United States government the tariff on the product. The product then goes to the store, but the importer has to recover that money it gave to the government for the tariff. So it increased the price of the product equivalent to the tariff it paid to the person who bought it from the importer. And that person who bought it from the importer increased the price that he sells it to the reseller. And that reseller increased the price that he sells it to the consumer because, again, his costs were higher. And he wants to continue driving or paying the notes on the car or his mortgage prices didn't drop. So his profit margin has to stay up to speed with it. It's not rocket science. It's simple. It's not rocket science. This is simple stuff that all of us should know. One of the reasons Donald Trump all along has realized that telling a lie over and over again without pushback, without solid pushback that isn't condescending, that allows people to bring their walls down and try to understand with the mind that they were given, that solves the issue. But what we do is we give Donald Trump plausibility. From Trump's jump onto the scene, from the media right back, they used him. They used him to make money on your backs. They used him because his lies were profitable for a lot of companies. They used him because having such a dishonest thug in the White House mean everything was up for purchase. That's why Zuckerberg is now his friend. That's why Bill Gates is now his friend. That's why all these billionaires are now his friends, because they can get whatever they need to make sure that their shareholders, not you, the American people, are well taken care of. Richard, line number 1.
Yeah, and do you remember the message that Uncle Walton Walmart gave us when they first came on the scene? You remember what the message was? Made in America.
Right.
We have all our stuff here for sale to you, and it's made in America. Bait and switch, huh?
Well, that's what they wanted to do. Go ahead.
In is I want to get off topic a second here, if you'd let me. I want to tell everybody out there listening to get involved. There's all kind of ways to get involved. And December 6th in Bryan, we're having a Maxwell at the college. It's see, here it is. No Mercy for Maxwell Part 2. I went to one of them already, and it's Saturday, December 6th, from 10 to 12. Also, December 6th in Montgomery, there's a rally for candidates there from 2 to 6. So y'all get involved, man. I mean, listening to Egberto is better than nothing, and calling in is better than nothing, but getting involved is better than that. So if you want to keep your country in the form that you've known it to be, as in democracy, please get involved.
Patrick, that's so true, and you said it perfectly well. The other thing is, I sure hope Maxwell is still in Bryan on the 6th. Who knows? We'll see.
I know, right? Good point. You think if Donald Trump, when he came down the golden escalator, if he would have said, or whenever he said it, I could rape a child on Fifth Avenue and I'd not lose a vote, you think he would have lost a vote? I'm just asking.
Let me tell you, with Trump, I don't know. I mean, you see, you have to understand the psychology of those who follow Trump. There are two psychologies. There are the cultish, and for the cultish ones, that would not have made a difference. And also,
no, right?
Yeah, that would not have made a difference. It doesn't matter what he would have said, because, and then there are those that, look, I'll just say it. There is a hate in this country against the other, such a strong hate, that it lobotomizes your mind, that it allows you to do things that you normally wouldn't do. That is a benefit of really reintegrating that part of our minds that uses hate as a defense, because it puts everything on the backside. And we still, look, the biggest problem, let me tell you right now, the biggest problem in America is to put fear in white people's minds. That is a real problem in America, and nobody wants to confront it as it really is. The idea is to put fear into good people's hearts and minds so that they do things they would not have normally done. Because yesterday, I don't know if you remember the show when we talked about when Bruce called in, and said, nobody, when I was hurt, nobody asked me, Republican, Democrat, everybody saw a human being that was hurt and needed help. But the magic, man, is to let you fear that something is going to happen to you based on how you look. And the truth is, the only thing that is happening to people based on how they look is people of color. So, I mean, I think it is so important that what we do as progressives, those of us in the know, is to work on those real issues by name. I make sure to try to cover them in a way that doesn't put people on the defensive. But look, I know exactly what's going on, and I try to work with it Yeah, exactly, Richard. I know you do. You try to work with it in a manner that says, hey, chill. It's going to be all right. Thank you, Richard. Anything else you have to say real quickly?
Yeah. The rally in Montgomery is December 6th, and we have some great speakers there. And it's from 2 to 6, I believe. And it's at a place called H Wines. And please come and show up if you can't go to Brian at that protest. And let, let me tell you this, too. This is funny because how perfect is it when anything that this guy's exposed of doing, they have an excuse that it's the left trying to make him look bad, no matter what he is exposed of. Anyway.
It is crazy. But thank you, Richard. And look, and also thank you for all the work that you do out there, brother. Let's go to Jesse. Come on in, Jesse. And don't forget, guys, the telephone number is 713-526-5738. Again, 713-526-5738. 713-526-5738. By the way, si hay alguien que quiere hablar en español también, yo lo puedo traducir. Give me a call, 713-526-5738. Go ahead, Jesse.
Hey, Berto, I'm one of your lower listeners. You're saying when we raised up prices on our taxes on corporations and rich people, that the poor people incur the cost?
Wait, repeat that.
Are you saying that like the tariff, the taxes, or the poor people incur the cost when they raise those prices?
Yeah, what I'm saying is, yes, they disproportionately increase the cost. Let me give an example. You can only eat
and
one
the poor
loaf.
people pay for it.
The poor people pay a disproportionate cost of it. Yes.
Oh, so what's the solution to that?
First of all, the solution is there's a reason for tariffs. Tariffs are used to protect an industry that has an unfair, let's say, unfair competition by another government. There are good uses for tariffs, right? But when it comes to how do you protect the working class, you protect the working class by things because, again, the capitalist economic system, right, by design, it moves money upwards. That's by design. How do you mitigate that? You mitigate that by having progressive taxes, which we have done and we had gotten better with that back early in the late 60s and 70s. You have progressive taxes. That means as you make more, that additional dollar, you pay a higher percentage of taxes on. Other ways to mitigate what capitalism does to moving money forward, you also go ahead and create economies that contain things like child care subsidies, basic income type subsidies. You create these things that take money back and give it to the people who are actually making the economy work.
And how do we stop the rich people from charging us more for the goods when they own everything?
Okay, let's stop that for a while. Let's say we have an America with 330 million people. How many rich people are there?
No, I don't know. I'm a proletarian widget.
Okay, well, let me just tell you, okay? Let me just tell you this, okay? There are comparative analysis. There are very few rich people compared to the masses, okay? That the masses choose, that means that if we simply allow the rich to do what they want, it says that we have chosen self-slavery. Do you understand that? Yes or no?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, and what I'm saying is this. The rich is going to find a balance. And that balance is how can I stay on top with more money without the rest of the people using pitchforks and taking what I claim is mine. So there's a balance. Okay? Because you can take...
So what?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
What stops the rich people from packing up and leaving?
Where are they going to go?
I mean, anywhere but here, third world
You see,
country.
and that is a psychological warfare they play with people. That's why they don't want you to be very smart, because they have nowhere to go. Let me first tell you, rich people have absolutely nowhere to go. They can only remain rich because they have the United States of America and its military to dominate anywhere that they decide to go. Because if they go to a Latin American country and they don't have the power of the United States, the people in that country will take everything that they're worth. If they go to Europe and they don't have the military power of the United States, the same thing. You see, Europe, the Scandinavian countries in Europe got smart. Why their people are happier? Because they understand the concept. Whenever a rich person threatens to leave, you know what I tell them? Please, leave. Because they are going, and again, Jesse, don't fall for the okie doke. They are going nowhere. You know how many times rich people were going to leave New York? They are going nowhere because they have nowhere to go. They depend on your fear. That's what they depend on. They depend on you saying things like, oh, well, if you don't do it this way, I'll just take my money and leave. No, you can leave, but you ain't taking the money with you. You can leave, but you ain't taking the money with you. You see, we have to assert our worth. And that is what slaves don't do. And what we have in America, because of our lack of education, is a mass of slavery. And that's what progressives are trying to mitigate right now. When you just said they'll take their money and leave, what, my brother, you don't understand is that they have nowhere to go. Because
my family sent a lot of money back home to where we're from, you know, and built a life and house back there and everything. And then there's a different way those third world countries work. You got to use a little grease and this and that, but you can get it.
Brother,
you know, my family's not from America. I was just born here, so I sound country.
I don't see the point that you're making here, my friend.
Well, we built another life in another country and go there a lot, you know, and it's a nice life.
Good.
So we make our money here.
And?
If you understand you're smelling what I'm stepping in.
Well, anyway, let me just tell you this, my friend. When you watch the money flow, let me tell you point blank, the rich has no power other than the power that we give them, the masses give them. And when we realize what we have as worth, it'll stop. I saw a TikTok yesterday from a very smart influencer that said, let's see what a country with billionaires and where the masses decided to stay home. Let's see how much they survive. Let's see how long they survive. Not very long. Jesse, got to go to other calls, but thank you very much for giving me a chance to say these things. All right.
Thank you, Egberto. We love you.
Love you too, brother. Let's go to Patrick. Come on in, Patrick.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, brother. Talk to me.
It's not why I called, but I wanted to help out Jesse. The billionaires are here, but they already sent their money to third world countries, their shell companies. They don't pay taxes. They just consume this country. They don't add to it. So I'll pay for the ticket to leave.
Continue, brother.
Next, I wanted to talk about that $2,000 rebate.
Yes.
I bet my $5,000 bonus check, nobody gets their $2,000 check.
I agree.
Now, if we all do get a $2,000 check and 100 million people, plus or minus, are eligible, it exceeds that bank account or that tariff account by $7 billion. So the tariff hasn't even brought in what he's promising. So what I do like about it is somebody that pays makes $99,000 a year get the same amount as somebody that makes $25,000 a year at McDonald's, and the person that made $100,000 a year, actually put more into that. So it's a distribution from the middle class to the lower middle class.
Right.
And Trump finally did something right then.
Wow, you picked up that's a smart catch, boy. That's a smart catch, Patrick. You nailed that one, Patrick.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, brother. Let's go to brother Jimmy. Jimmy, come on in, sir.
Egberto, there was a New York Times had a wonderful article the other day about Panama. You're from Panama, so I thought you'd be interested in it. They were relating Trump's idea of overthrowing Maduro of Venezuela with what President George H.W. Bush did in 1969 about Manuel Noriega of Panama. That he was dealing with drugs, etc., and Bush decided to invade Panama with 17,000 troops, and he went in there and killed a little bit over 300 Panamanian soldiers and 200 Panamanian citizens to arrest Manuel Noriega. And so we admit killing about 500 Panamanian people. What is your knowledge about how many people were killed in Panama?
Okay, let me explain that, right? Because it irks me how that story is told in the United States. There weren't 500 Panamanians that lost their life when George Bush invaded Panama. There were 10,000 Panamanians. They leveled Chorrillo. They leveled Chorrillo. That is where the Cuartel Nacional, that is where Manuel Noriega's cuartel was, his headquarters. They leveled it. They went into my town, Colon, and they also leveled that area. They didn't even have the decency to then look for bodies. They just bulldozed those bodies into big mass dumps. That's how much they thought about the Panamanian citizenry. To get one man, Manuel Antonio Noriega, who was formerly a CIA agent. That is, so I mean, I understand what's going on. We discussed this here I did a piece with David Schuster and Cliff Schechter yesterday, where we talked about the value of life and some lives having no value, and the value of people south of the border as far as the United States government under the tenets of the old George Bush and now Donald Trump is zero. They'll go in and get what they want to get. And if he invades Venezuela, I tell you what, he's going to put all Americans in danger, because the Latin Americans of the fruit, when they were going in and invading Guatemala and these other places for the fruit stuff, are a lot different than the Latin Americans that we have today. The Latin Americans that we have today are, well, should I say? Anyway, so I mean, I find it pathetic, first of all, that a New York Times article would put out 500 citizens dead when everybody knows it's more than that. The propaganda continues. But anyway, anything else, Jimmy?
They were quoting U.S. Yeah, the New York Times is quoting U.S. figures. So anyway, apparently they are wrong. I have one more topic. Wednesday, the U.S. Mint produced the last penny. Pennies will no longer be produced because they were costing like 4 cents each to produce. But there are billions of pennies out there. They'll be out there for a long time. And a penny for your thoughts, Egberto.
Let me tell you, I don't see why a penny that costs more than a penny is a problem when the lifespan of the penny is very, very long. I mean, I just never saw what the argument was. Oh, a penny costs more than a penny to make. Okay. Your point is? Look, let me just tell you, I think what that is going to do is simply increase prices, right? Because again, anything that used to cost $19.99, you'll pay $20 for now. Little increase, but still an increase. Anything else, brother?
Let's see. I can't believe you said Walmart is scamming people. Walmart is doing a great job of keeping prices low. So that's the best sower.
Okay, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, my brother. Let's see this. I got a pen from Walmart for 50 cents. And the cheapest pen I can get from any company that I know about, let's say it's $10. I paid 50 cents for that pen. I'm saving you money if I sell you that pen for $7. Am I a good person?
Well, every store has to make a profit. They have to pay their employees. They have to pay rent. They have to build those buildings and so forth. So
my next question.
The way at cost, they have to.
I agree.
Double the price usually just to make it keep the company going.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about that, because that's an important thing you just said. Walmart also tries its best to pay as little taxes as possible, and many of its employees are on welfare, meaning you, my dear brother, your taxes have to go to subsidize the wages that Walmart pays to its employees, right? Because they don't pay them much, but the shareholders on Walmart makes darn good money. What I'm saying, it's all about scale. And the corporate story is, we are good, we are cheap. Yeah, they are cheap compared to other stores, but their cheapness is not where it really should be. But anyway, Brother Jimmy, let's talk tomorrow. I got to go to Anthony and John. All right.
Okay. Have a good weekend.
You too, brother. Peace. All right. Let's go to Anthony.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, my brother. Talk to me.
I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
Everyone in America had $1 million in their bank account. What would happen to the...
Wait, say that again?
Everyone in America had $1 million in their bank account. What would happen to the American economy?
If everybody had $1 million in their bank account, what would happen to the American economy? I got to give you two answers for that, because this is where it happens.
Okay.
The first thing is, if everybody had $1 million and they rushed to the store to buy everything that they could, prices would go up, because our mentality is, if there is a demand for something, the initial act of that demand is to raise prices because you can, because other people will be willing to pay more for something that maybe had cost less. So if everybody had the infinite amount of money to spend, you could get runaway inflation based on our current culture. And notice what I said. Based on our current culture, you would get inflation. The second answer that I have to give is, there's just so many things that one can have, right? And if there is huge productivity, meaning if we can produce all the things that people want, it doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank, you wouldn't even get inflation if you can produce all the things people want. So, okay, go ahead before I continue.
Okay, let me ask you this. Who would actually go to work to stock the shelves?
Okay, that's a good question. Eventually things will go ahead and break, right? Do rich people go to work?
Yes, but not the way you think they do. They can't see Elon Musk needs a whole staff of workers to make the billions that he's making. But if he paid them enough to not come to work, they wouldn't come to work and he couldn't make the money.
Okay, again, wait a minute. You just said something that needs to be analyzed very well. You said Elon Musk paid a lot of money to make his billions, right?
No. I said if he paid his workers enough money not to come to work, how would he make his money? If people had enough money not to work, how could the millionaire
I get it. I get it. In other words,
he couldn't make any money because nobody came to work.
You're saying
places working because you have people that don't make enough money and they have to keep coming to work and pay their American dream of debt.
All right, good. You're saying two things. You're saying two things, right? You just said two important things, and let me tell you what they are. One is that Musk did not make his billions. Everybody else made the billions for Musk, and he has some way of convincing you to let your excess labor go to him. That's what you just said. In economic terms, that's what you just said. In economic terms, you are saying that Elon called everybody else stupid because the billions that he's going to make and want to keep comes from the work they do. So that in itself answers that question. Number two, the fallacy that many have is that after you make a certain amount of money, you simply stay home and do nothing. That is buying into right-wing propaganda. Most people want to be useful and go out and do something. Even those people that honestly are rich. When I say honestly are rich, I mean work hard to be rich. I don't mean the type of rich that Elon Musk or Bill Gates or these other functions are. There are two kinds of wealth that people accumulate. Wealth that they really built and wealth that they earned, or wealth that they got on the back of others. Musk got wealth on the back of others. Mark Cuban got wealth on the back of others. The guy who owns that coffee shop over the years and worked that coffee shop, he got wealth. And guess what he continues to do? He continues to come into that coffee shop and work, even though he could retire tomorrow. The fallacy that they tell us is that if we don't have this carrots and sticks system, that people will just stay home. What they don't tell you is if we had an educational system that actually promotes societal values, that is exactly what we will do. Because in this lousy type of economic system, it works, and it works because we learned to behave the way we behave. We can change behavior. So my ultimate answer to you is, if everybody had $1 million, if people would go to work, my answer to you is they'll absolutely, definitely go to work. Most will. Anything else, Anthony?
No, that's it. And lastly, I'll say this. You're absolutely correct that Walmart does not pay the workers enough money, and they're getting these tax breaks, and the people are still on welfare.
Exactly.
So how are they getting the money in the treasury if they're not paying their share of taxes, and we still have to subsidize people's life?
Yes. You're correct, brother. And that's what we fight for. That's what we do here. Thank you, sir. Let's go to John. Come on in, John, line 4.
What I wanted to say was about subsidies. And tariffs. Targeted tariffs, as you said, are good to protect certain industries, but you don't put tariffs on an entire country just randomly, and that is what Trump has done, and we're paying for that tariff, and no industry is actually created in this country or protected because they've already been globalized out. It's not going to happen on a stroke of a pen.
John.
That, all of a sudden have domestic, industries. And, so it just is not a policy that has any rational or reasonable thing behind it except to extract money out of, the rest of us, out of the consumer. And it's also destroying a lot of small businesses because they have to buy commercially a lot of the stuff that they put together here to sell to us, and their prices, they don't have that kind of margin as a lot of the large industries have. So they're going out of business. So a lot of small businesses are being destroyed. And then as far as globalization of capital, let them go somewhere else. But we have to close the gap internationally of all of these corporations that move their capital overseas, pay no taxes, and then still receive benefits. Like, for instance, Medtronic manufactures stuff, here and in other countries, but their headquarters are in a tax dodge, which is Ireland. They used to be headquartered here in Minnesota, but they no longer pay taxes, but yet at the same time, they're charging Medicare for all of the people, their equipment that is being used, like heart pacemakers and all kinds.
I get it, John. I got it.
Yeah.
I got it, John. Let me tell you, first of all, I think, you're absolutely right. Now, there's something that you said that I was trying to cut you off earlier to bring out, and that is what the tariffs actually, how it affects the economy and why it's shrinkage for the economy. Look, when the working class pay these tariffs, that goes into the government's coffers. If the government was sending that money back out as things like basic income and also subsidies for childcare, etc., that money would circulate back into the economy, and it will create, even as it was taken away from middle class or poor folks, it would have recirculated into the economy to create other jobs, etc. But that's not what that tariff is used for. Given the inordinate tax system that we have, given that much of that money is going to either go to pay the debt or as tax breaks for wealthy corporations, that creates no additional economic activity, and that's why it is so detrimental. I got to go, John. Let's go to Augie. Augie, come on.
Talking about Walton. For many years, China tried to get into the United States, but couldn't find any distributor until Grandpa Walton went to China, and he made a deal that he'd be the major distributor for China. And that's how Walmart got created. And that thing about Walmart that said Made in America, the news channel decided to check that out. So they went into Walmart and looked at all the stuff they had. And the stuff that they said was made in America had that label. Found out it was made in China. It wasn't made in America. And like you said, the people that buy that 70 or the 50-cent pen as opposed to a $7 or $10 pen, where's that 50-cent pen made? It's made in China.
Right.
And how long does it last? You use it for a little while and it breaks and it stops working. But that $7 and $10 pen was made in America. How long did that last? That would last for years. And but think about if you had $1 million. I worked for a union company, and we fought for our wages and benefits. And in cities where unions got the pay raises of the grocery store, the hardware store, the restaurant owners saying, "Hey, these people got a raise. I'm going to raise my prices too," because they wanted some of that money.
Right.
So the unions got raises. The prices raised in the towns where the unions were at.
Exactly. Exactly. Hey, Augie, I'm running out of time, so I got to go. But thank you for your insight, my brother. Appreciate you. Let's go to Johnny. Johnny, you got about 45 seconds.
I would wager, no pun intended, that Anthony was socialized just like you and I were to do a 9 to 5 when we were kids. It's called going to school every day, Monday through Friday, from 8 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, with a 1 hour lunch break. That's how they get you in that mindset of having to work. Those guys in Wall Street, do you think they work like you think they do? No,
they don't.
The stock market is designed to keep the money in their hands out of yours.
All right, Johnny, and you even had a tone. You had the tonality. Anyway, I need to pass it to our genius, the geniuses in the studio, brothers and sisters. Anything to add?
I mainly just enjoyed like a lot of what the callers had to say, because they made me think about a lot of different things and asking questions, putting on ideas of what could be. So I thought it was just a really good show.
We have the best callers on the planet. I say that all the time. So you know what, team? We've got the best callers. We got the best audience, man. Hey, Jack, what's up?
Hey, I just want to make a statement. You know, when people talk about these rallies and, protest, they never give a physical address. We need to get a physical address out there so us boomers that don't use the internet can get to these protests because, we want to be active. You know, we didn't get to protest in the 60s, but we sure like to do it now when we see what's going on.
Yeah, maybe Richard.
Jack, I'm gonna shake you up on national, on the radio right now. First of all, yes, activists, when you guys call in here, please appease our brother Jack to let him know where the address is gonna be. Yeah, let's do that. But Jack, the next time we have our burritos, we're gonna have to school you on some internet. Mayana, you're in there all of the time with brother Jack.
I'm helping. Trust me.
Thank you.
I'm helping.
And if he gives you any trouble, slap him across the head or something. Jack, you will use the internet.
Eventually.
It's hard.
I know I got to. It's a struggle for me.
Hey, Jack, we know. We're just doing this because we
learn habits.
Brother, we love you, man. That's why we're giving you a hard time. Diana is going to slap you around a little bit and then we'll be okay. Anyway, let's get out of here. Anyway, folks, thank you so kindly for listening to the show. You can get the rest of the show at Politics Done Right /newsletter, Politics Done Right /newsletter. Sorry that I wasn't very active in the chat. I was kind of scanning it, but, you guys forgive me. You can email me directly at kpft@politicsdoneright.com, kpft@politicsdoneright.com. Love you all. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you know how I end this baby, guys. I am what? Out. Support for this show, Politics Done Right, comes from politicsdoneright.com, publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It. As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willies. Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also